So let me just press record. Okie dokie.
Great. Oops. Okay. I'm Giulia Bellisai, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Birmingham. And my research is focused on environmental toxicology, and in particular on bee toxicology. So I decided with this activity to focus on the area of bee science and bee protection. Sorry. Having this in mind, I shaped the activity around the following aims. First of all, explore the public perception regarding the importance of bees in natural ecosystems and the risks that bees are facing in their environment. And starting with the public perception, another aim was to correct this perception in the cases this was far from reality and increase public awareness on bee decline and bee protection by disseminating correct information about the risks which are faced by bees in their environment, and also what are the individual behaviors and lifestyles that can help protecting our bee populations. The third aim was to bring people closer to nature and make them appreciate the role of pollinator insects in their habitats and ecosystems. The first two aims were addressed with an interactive learning activity. These activities were carried out on social media. Quizzes and surveys were created and disseminated across using the social media, and information after each quiz, both on Instagram and Facebook, were released. The aim was to engage participants, arouse their curiosity, and make them learn something new and interesting. I also created an official Instagram page, which I called Pollinator World, which has now 35 followers after 1 week from the date of creation, but which was actually followed by more people that were actively participating with to the quizzes, replying to the surveys, and leaving feedbacks. One of these, for example, came from a Norwegian athlete, Bjørn Magnebrun, which followed all my stories and which seemed happy to have reached my page because he liked the contents that I was releasing every day. As I said before, so the quizzes were delivered on social media on a daily basis. I have to say that the initial plan for the activity was different, as it originally involved the creation of a web page with news and interactive activities. I started to create actually this website, but then I realized that I was actually using social media to advertise the event. And then I decided that it was more effective to carry out the event directly on the social media, given the possibility to share stories, interactive stories, both on Instagram and Facebook. So even if the plan changed, the spirit of the activity was the same. The quizzes and surveys were divided in 5 different blocks to build up participant knowledge and were carried out in 5 different days. The first 2 blocks were focused on general knowledge about bees, and in the following days, I focused on bee decline and the main causes of bee decline, on the public perception about what could happen if bee disappeared, and also on individual behavior and lifestyles which can help to prevent bee decline. The third aim was addressed with a photo contest, which required people to go around and look for bees in their habitats, take a picture, and share it on social media using the hashtag #TheBeeProject2020. Also in this case, the activity was promoted on social media, but also via emails and direct messages to groups of people and friends. In order to advertise the event, I sent out the yellow flyer you can see here in the slide, but I also shared stories on my personal profile on Facebook and Instagram. And I also created an event on Facebook, both in English and Italian, and asked my Facebook friends to share the event with their networks. I really relied on the word of mouth. And social media are quite a powerful tool for that. Just the event on Facebook reached 215 people. And among these ones, 45 confirmed their interest to participate. But many other people were reached via different media and tools. In order to encourage participation, I also advertised the prize, which will be given to the participant which reached the most, which had the highest number of likes. The prize is a bee saver kit from the organization Friends of the Hearth, containing wildflower seeds, identification guides, and other bee-related gadgets. I chose this prize because I found it quite relevant for the activity, but also with an educative purpose. The criteria for selecting the winning picture was based on the most liked picture, as I said before, and this was chosen on purpose with the objective to let people invite their friends to vote for their picture, and as a consequence also make even more people know about the event. For the bee photo contest, I received 29 posts with single or multiple pictures. The majority of the pictures were shared using the Instagram channel. The deadline, the entry deadline for the contest was yesterday, and here I'm pleased to show you the winner for the bee contest. This picture reached 73 likes, and then in the next days I will contact the participant and get the necessary information to send the award. As I said before, quizzes and surveys were delivered using Instagram and Facebook stories, both on my personal page, but also on the official Instagram page. As you can see from the graphs, the highest number of stories with visualization was reached on my personal Instagram profile. I had some technical problems with Facebook, because I couldn't manage to make interactive stories, but then I sort out the problem just at the end of the week. This is why I missed some data about the Facebook channel here. And then regarding my official Instagram profile, here we can see that I had few visualization, both because the page wasn't quite new and it was not, there were not many followers which were following the page. But also because the number of visualization was not recorded for those people who were not really following the page, but who were just accessing the page without following it. As we can see here, I received, there was an active participation. We can say that half of the people who visualized the stories actively participated to the quizzes and surveys. And there was there was a high participation also on the official page on Instagram. So overall, I was able to reach almost 100 visualization. Maybe we can say 80 per day. And about half of the people who visualized the stories participated actively to the quizzes. These are my considerations. So actually, what I noticed is that in the official Instagram profile, the replies from the participants were quite homogeneous, while in my personal Instagram profile, the replies were heterogeneous. So this could mean that people checking the official profile were actually those people who had the real interest in the topic and knew more about pollinators and bee protection. While friends on Instagram, they had quite an heterogeneous background. In conclusion, actually the activity allowed me to retrieve informative pictures which may be used for scientific purposes, but I have to admit that I would need more data in order to be able to use this information actually for scientific purposes. Anyway, it was a really good start, and the activity was successful as a first experience, and I learned how to use these tools in order to reach the public, and probably I will carry out a future activity in order to collect data for my PhD project. Finally, the quizzes and surveys also revealed interesting outputs. So I was pleased to see that people discovered that bees do not only live in trees as honeybees, but also in the ground and crevices as bumblebees and solitary bees. That climate change and use of pesticides are not the only causes of bee decline. And that bee decline can also impact the textile industry and not only the food provision for human, as bees are important pollinators of crops as cotton and flax. Well, yeah, I have to say that overall the experience was successful and enjoyable, and I learned a lot, both for the scientific point of view, but also regarding science communication. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks very much, Guilia. What a lovely project. Right, let me get you all back. Does anyone else want to jump in with a question first?
Julia, thank you. I love that because I love bees. No favoritism there. What's next for Pollinator World? What would you like to do with it going forward? Because I'm guessing that you don't want to give up on it just yet.
Yeah, so actually I was thinking to give up after the public engagement and then create another. Yeah, but then I received so many nice feedbacks that actually this motivated me to keep the page alive. I have to say that it was really time consuming. Also because like I have to admit I'm a perfectionist, so I understood that I have to change this aspect of my personality. And then, yeah, it was quite demanding to create content for the page. But then I actually realized that people were enjoying. Also, some of my friends were asking me to put more quizzes online. So every day they were sending me messages, more quizzes, please. So yeah, it was very positive. Yeah, I received very positive feedbacks, and it would be like, I think it would be useful to continue. Also because I learned a lot. There were people sending me picture and asking me to identify the bees. I'm not an entomologist or a taxonomist, so it was quite hard for me. But then I decided to buy books and to learn also about it. So, I mean, it was also useful for me to get engaged in this activity.
Excellent. So it's actually driving you forward as well.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So everybody's learning. I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Could I ask a question about the audience? So did you have an audience in mind for the content before you started? Was there like a particular age group or demographic that you were looking to engage with your research?
Yeah, so actually I was thinking about adult people. From the beginning I thought that they could be like the people which I could reach using online tools. So I think that most of the people, well, I don't really have an idea about the age, but I think everyone is like above 18 years old. And yeah, so there are people who I reached with the social media, also people that I didn't know. And unfortunately, I don't have track about all the people who had access on the Instagram profile.
And if you were to think about maybe sharing it in the future again, is there a kind of a person in mind, or a type of public that you would really want to engage with your research?
Well, actually, still adult people, no matter what is the background. Yeah, these.
Thank you.
I'm going to be cheeky and make a point and ask a question. So just about keeping the project going, I think it'd be really interesting to have a look, think about how often in it, say a year, you think you could take the time, and then have a look what else you could link in with, like maybe when Spring Watch is on or things like that, and what hashtags you could use, so that you're not planning to do lots over a concentrated amount of time. I know that was my fault because of how the course works for the setup. But yeah, I think there's lots of nice ways that you could just keep it going. So I thought it was quite interesting that you had that big response on the first day and it sort of trailed off, which suggests maybe smaller bursts of input might be what people respond to more. And then to ask a bit of a question as well. So you gave us some idea about that the types of responses differed slightly as to how they came across it. And that you got some interesting responses, like individual responses about what people didn't know. But have you got any idea to what extent? So you talked about myths at the beginning. Did most people have wrong information or misunderstandings about bees, or was it actually a minority? And was there any surprises in what people knew or didn't know?
Okay, so actually the majority replied correctly, but then there was like a big minority, I would say, that replied like, that thought that the reply was a different one. So for example, one of the questions was, what are the main causes of bee decline? And then some people replied climate change, some people replied pesticides, and these were like big groups in the minority. So it means that actually, since the climate change is a hot topic, people believe that climate change is the cause of everything, also bee decline. But actually, I hope, they understood that actually the causes of bee decline are multiple, because in nature, everything is interconnected. And then after each quiz, after they gave the reply, I also gave information. Like by reading, people could also understand the question and fix the information in mind. So yeah, there were like some topics which were like blur area, which were not really known by group of people.
And were you surprised at all that people asked about the identification of the bees? Because I thought that would actually really drive. I was really interested to see if you were then giving people information maybe about the species or the rarity. So there's good evidence with that sort of where you ask people for input, that if then they get something interesting back, that drives them to come back, and then they're going to look for more. They're going to look for the rarest bee that you can, the most unusual bee they can find. Were you surprised by people wanting that? And is that something, and were you surprised that they expected you to know bee species?
Well, yeah, I was not prepared. So I was thinking maybe they will just participate, like posting pictures without getting in contact with me. And then, I wanted to keep it like that. But then, it was also good that they contacted me, because it means that they really engaged. I have to admit that I was like suffering the syndrome of imposter, because I was feeling I'm not able to give them a reply. So like I need to know more. But then I understood that the preparation comes with the time. So while doing these activities, I tried to get to know more, and it was really good for me. So what I was thinking, it was also, I didn't get like a lot of pictures. So there were about 30. So actually with this group of picture, I cannot really use the data for scientific purposes, but then at least I learned something anyway. So the activity was probably not useful for science in the big scale, but it was important for me and my research, my preparation at least.
Yeah, and your engagement going forward, that if you know people will ask you this question all the time, but I've seen this be, is it important? Then it informs your engagement as well as potentially the research.
I was going to ask the very same question. What would you do differently next time? Actually, I think we've already, over the last minute or so, we've actually just unpacked that, haven't we? Did you, Julia, did you feel it was a success?
Yeah, I think so. Even if at the beginning I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I don't know how to how to manage. But then, yeah, like day by day, I realized that people were happy about that and they were enjoying the activity. So yeah, but I have to say that I was quite tensed during the activity. It was like my first approach to the public, and yeah, I was quite tensed.
Now, I will actually, we can all see just, I mean, everything's been different since we all first started this, and we've all had to change many things, and it's really clear to see that you've made lots of dynamic changes as you've gone through it, because you've realized that actually the website was just,
yeah,
the real dialogue was happening earlier on the Facebook channels that you were using to promote a website. So I'm glad that you've actually taken those moments and sort of gone, actually looking at this isn't what I want, this is a better way of doing it. So there's lots that you do that. What I mean, along those lines, what would you do next time?
Okay, so well, the planning was already quite precise, but then even if I planned everything at the beginning, I went through some things that didn't work. Probably what I will do is advertising the event like weeks before, instead of just advertising it like few days before the weekend. But in a way, I think also that like having advertised close to the deadline also helped to people to participate. Otherwise, people would have forgotten. So I think this really depends on the activity. And then if I advertise the activity weeks before, I should put like every thought days, I should promote again the activity. So to keep people, to make people remember that there is the activity going on. And then also give a closure to the activity. This is something, yeah, the big context finished yesterday, but I didn't give a closure, and I'm going to do that now. So probably I would have done that on time instead of like delaying a bit. And then I think I will also, I don't know, like ask for feedbacks for the activity, because actually what I did with the quizzes, at the end I transformed the quizzes more in surveys to understand what people were thinking about the behaviors that they can take in order to save the bees. But then since I noticed that the participation was declining, I didn't really ask how they felt during the activity, because I thought, okay, now it's too late, they are not going to participate anymore. So, but probably I will do that like in parallel, like during the activity maybe.
Okay. Well, they were interested at one point to join in, so they might still
Yeah.
be interested to have that conversation still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thank
no, I think you've done really, really well. Lauren, did you have anything else to add? Or,
No,
okay.
no further questions.
Just didn't want to say thank you ever so much for that. And I think we also really appreciate as well how many skills and how much work this module is. So thank you very much for sticking with it and for being so responsive to what you learned. And like I said, I'll let you know as soon as the recording is up and if there's any other follow-up questions.
Okay.
Thanks ever so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julia.
Bye. Bye. Thanks.